Hello, and welcome to The Reckoning: Iran, Israel, America, and War. This podcast explores the relationships among these countries and the events that led to war in 2026. Crossroads of Hate is a 5-part series examining Western influences on Iranian anti-Semitic propaganda. This has been part of Iran's information warfare against both Israel and the United States. The author is Mark Silinsky. This is the 4th of 5 podcasts on this subject. In this podcast, we look at some prized anti-Semites who are friends of Iran. Robert Faurisson. Born in 1929 in Surrey, England, to a Scottish mother and a French father, Robert Faurisson became a literature professor and a prominent Holocaust denier. Le Monde published his article, The Problem of the Gas Chambers, or The Rumor of Auschwitz, in 1978, though the newspaper later expressed regret for doing so. Linguist Noam Chomsky promoted one of his books, which boosted his prestige and shielded him from charges of anti-Semitism. Chomsky called Faurisson a voice of conscience against injustice. He served as a professor of literature at the University of Lyon, but was dismissed in 1990 when the French Parliament voted to criminalize Holocaust denial. He sued to have his tenure restored, but he lost that case, as well as a 40-year legal battle with the French newspaper Le Monde. In that case, a Paris court of appeal called Faurisson a professional liar, a falsifier, and a fabricator of history. Holocaust survivors also delivered broadsides against him. When Faurisson emphasized the scant number of photographs of Nazi gas chambers, an Auschwitz survivor snickered at him, saying she was sorry she had forgotten to bring her camera to the camp. In 1980, he told a French radio station that the lie of the Holocaust opened the way to a gigantic political and financial fraud, of which the principal beneficiaries are the State of Israel and international Zionism, and the principal victims the German and the entire Palestinian people. In 2012, Iran's then-president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad awarded Faurisson a prize for his courage, resistance, and fighting spirit in contesting the Holocaust. Until his death, Faurisson repeated the refrain that Nazis and Jews conspired to create Israel. The Nazis never said that the Jews should be annihilated. Such a thing never happened. Hitler never gave an order to massacre the Jews merely because they were Jews. David Irving. David Irving is one of the most prominent Holocaust deniers in the world. Many other deniers have offered little original, well-written commentary based on extensive research. But Irving has long been a public speaker and was initially praised by mainstream historians for obtaining primary sources unavailable to other historians. In 1977, he published Hitler's War, which earned some positive reviews from esteemed historians. However, in that book and subsequent manuscripts, he argued that there is no evidence linking Hitler to the gas chambers. He later moved to outright Holocaust denial, dismissing claims that gas chambers existed at Auschwitz. As his reputation collapsed outside Holocaust denier circles, his bitterness toward his critics grew, and most of his historical commentary lost its remaining credibility. University students shouted him down at public speaking venues, and Jewish advocacy groups campaigned against his speaking tours. He was imprisoned in Austria for Holocaust denial and could not attend Holocaust conferences in Iran that had invited him to speak. In his stead, he sent a London-based associate. In 2016, the unsuccessful 1996 libel trial of historian Deborah Lipstadt was adapted into a film. In the film, the presiding judge admonished, Irving was motivated by a desire to present events in a manner consistent with his own ideological beliefs, even if that involved distortion and manipulation of historical evidence. David Irving lost the case. In response, the Iranian paper Tehran Times portrayed Irving as a victim and hero who gallantly lost his battle for freedom and truth. The Times opined, "One of the biggest frauds of the outgoing century which has dragged into the new millennium, is the story of the Holocaust, made up by the Zionists to blackmail the West. Kevin Barrett. Kevin Barrett is an American who frequently appears on Iran's press TV. Barrett taught at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where he earned a doctorate. Barrett has repeatedly questioned the Nazi German murder of 6 million Jews. He brazenly proclaims on his website, "Today is as good a day as any to admit. I am Holocaust, denier. And I deny that the German murders of gypsies, Slavs, handicapped people, communists, Jews, and others during World War II constitute a Holocaust." He asserts that the 6 million figure is exaggerated, that Japanese Americans were imprisoned during World War II at the instigation of mostly Jewish gangsters, and that the United States and its allies deliberately murdered 10 million Germans during the post-war occupation. He provides no evidence for these claims. Barrett regularly appears on press TV, where he espouses conspiracy theories, such as the claim that U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, is furthering the kosher Nostra extremist Likudnik Israeli agenda. Further, Israelis run U.S. Treasury, use it to punish Israel's enemies. Dieudonné, Garodi, Faurisson, Irving, and Barrett spoke in solidarity with Iran's Holocaust deniers. In turn, Iran has feted them with praise and venues to vent their anger. These men also espouse other anti-Semitic themes, including conspiracies to control the world and casting Israel as a uniquely sinister country bent on world domination. Luc de Schumacher. In 2016, Iran awarded Belgian Luc de Schumacher a $1,000 prize at its annual cartoon contest about the Holocaust. The prize-winning cartoon showed the words "Arbeit macht frei" atop a wall representing Israel's security barrier, intended to curb terrorist infiltration into the country. De Schumacher sketched many images of Jews, including the American advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller. He drew Miller, who is Jewish, with a hooked nose and oversized ears, and tagged the cartoon the influencer. His earlier cartoons included a stereotypical Orthodox Jew waiting to smash an Arab mother and her baby with a giant Star of David. The retired teacher explained, "My drawings are my visa to the world." This concludes this episode of The Reckoning: Iran, Israel, America, and War. In the next episode, we will continue examining anti-Semitic themes promoted by Iranian propaganda. Nothing in this podcast represents the official view of the United States government. Until our next podcast, thank you for listening.